Um, I guess the thing that I wanted to really discuss today was the way energy unravels your belief systems and your grid systems. And for a lot of you who are not really in tune to kind of like the energy woo-woo pieces, everybody kind of has a grid, and that's a certain set of beliefs that you've intertwined together over the years to create what it is that you function from, how it is that you think, how it is that you feel, what it is that you believe. Um, a lot of those grids are not yours. They belong to your parents or a colleague or a partner or a friend or whatever. That it's kind of like a spider web if you think about it. You take a belief that somebody else believes, and you're like, oh yeah, I believe that too, and you weave that into your web. And so you have like this grid, is what we call it, or this really big spider web that is woven, a set of woven beliefs that really aren't yours. And so what happens is, as you move into greater alignment, as you start bringing in things that belong to you versus functioning from other people's beliefs, what happens is you at an energetic soul level, you're going into these grids and you're pulling these strings. And as you know, when one string of a spider web is pulled, the whole web gets shaken, right? So the spider knows that there's something in there and you can go over and grab it. The same is kind of the same with energetic grids, in that once your belief is pulled, the whole grid gets shaken up. And that process of what I call is destruction, right? You're destroying the grid that you've created, which was based out of falsity, and on other people's beliefs and what you thought was true. And now as you're trying to dissemble that belief system, those grids, what's happening is that whole entire grid, that way you were thinking, the way you were believing, the way you were in the world, the way you perceive the world, the way you perceive your entire life and all of your relationships, your job and career, and who you are in this existence is all affected by that little pull. And so what can happen is that little pull, and for some of you, you might be pulling multiple strings. So for some of you, that may be very disruptive, because as you start to dismantle this kind of spider web grid, it can disrupt your mental body, and it can disrupt your emotional body. And when that happens, well, there is this feeling of panic, of anxiety, of fear, because you consciously are unaware of what is happening. You only know that it's different and it doesn't feel good at that moment because of that destructive, I should say, not initiation, clearing, recalibration is what I'm looking for, of that recalibration. And then you can go into that panic state, and it could really leave you feeling ungrounded, spacey, heavy, just a lot of energy that's just sitting there. So it's really important to move into kind of like the stillness, dive really, really deep in. We posted a video about the feels. That would help, but really kind of processing, letting go, removing that resistance, and finding a way to be stable, steady, and still through that destructive process, so it can actually move through a lot quicker and without so much disturbances. Now, for my private clients, we have meditations that help with that. They're like, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes, but they initiate 50-minute healing sessions to help recalibrate the grids. So as your grids are what we call in shift, right? As you're pulling and reweaving and resewing and rebuilding it together, we call that they're in flux. The grids, the templates, everything that's being destroyed and recreated are kind of like in this flux. And it's this flux stage that kind of plays with the mind and the emotions and can leave you really kind of panicky, and fearful, because you don't really know what is going on. And that is that feeling of losing your mind. And especially since you go through a lot of energetic shifts, especially in July and June, there were a lot. And now August, we're moving into eclipse season and Mercury retrograde. So there's more shift that's coming through for people. So it's kind of like, how do you get a handle on that shift? And, for a lot of you, if you can find that stillness, find that awareness, do your own energy work, if that's what you do, that's a great way to go and a great way to balance yourselves. If you are unable to do that, and sometimes, it just gets to be a little bit too much for you to manage, feel free to reach out. We have sacred container work that helps with that. But that is the reason behind that feeling of what it is that's being destroyed and uncreated and then repatterned. All that grid reflux is what gives you that I'm losing my mind sensation. Even though you're in this panic state of what the hell is going on, I can't manage it, it's actually exactly what you've been asking for. Like, you have this grid of belief that some of it is yours and some of it isn't, and you've been asking to know the truth, know yourself, be more in alignment with who you are. And part of that process is to start pulling those things out of your grids and out of your energy that are not yours, that are not in alignment. And that's that disruption. That's that piece that can have you feel like you're losing your mind. So, for example, if you're running a belief system that your whole family is running, right? And it's what we call familial or ancestral belief, and that you just kind of have it because you're just part of a family and you're running that pattern as well, the same behavioral ancestral pattern. And now you're moving into the stage where, like, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to run that pattern anymore. What happens is, that's that pulling. You start pulling that. You've been carrying that for years. Your whole family's functioning that. So that could be like a really disruptive grid shift. So just to give you an idea about why you might be feeling like you're losing your mind. And if you're not losing your mind yet, maybe in August you will. So you'll have to go back and find this video again and listen one more time.